All right, welcome into this very special edition of the MCT podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Simmons. Alongside me tonight is Toddeh Manukian. Toddeh, how are we doing today?
Doing well, Chris. Doing well. I got my $150 gift card for an NFL
I
jersey
know.
thanks to Caesars Sportsbooks. I'm cashing out and going back to DraftKings. Let's go.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I know you're always swindling and making moves, getting deals done. So I know this was a big one for you. So I am happy for you. You get that $150. That's easy money right there.
Michael Pittman or Jonathan Taylor? Who should I get?
I mean, there's also Big Q, Darius Leonard. I mean, you've got goggles. You've got options galore. I'm just saying.
I want a Hall of Famer, Chris. I'm not talking about some trash players that we're going to trade away. You know what? You're right. Naheem Hines. Let's go.
There you go.
You're right. Legends.
There you go. We'll talk about all of them. Because today, as you can see, probably guessed by our attire, it is NFL season preview time. So it is a very special episode of the MCT podcast. We are hoping that Michael can join in on the call at some point. We've got our fingers crossed for him. Basically, he's got to be a parent, and they're having trouble keeping getting Harley to bed. So we will do this. We're going to do this preview special today. Hopefully he gets the chance to join in. If not, we do have his predictions here, so his voice will be heard one way or the other tonight.
Good.
Whether it's his own voice or by yours truly. And but yeah, so we are. Toddeh, are you excited? I'm excited. This is going to be a special NFL season. I have a feeling it's going to be very interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of hurdles and everything to go over.
17 games. Let's go. Let's do it.
I mean, we've got this is the first year with 17 games. Like you said, we still have massive COVID implications. I think are going to unfortunately rear their head throughout the season for multiple teams, including our Indianapolis Colts. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there are storylines on and off the field abound to follow, and we'll try to get into as many of them as we can. There is one in particular I am super excited to talk about, so don't worry, we will talk about that. But Toddeh, I want to talk about. Okay, so I want to talk about. Let's just kind of quickly recap last season, because believe it or not, Toddeh, we haven't had NFL football for 7 months. 7 months.
That's kind of insane.
So it is. It's a long time to go from Super Bowl to week one of the regular season. But you know what? We did it. We made it through it. We're here. We are in week one.
Right.
So for those of you that, as Ted Lasso would say, for those of you that are goldfish and have a 10-second memory, let's remind you of what happened last year in the NFL. We had a fantastic Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. I think a lot of people expected it to go a different way. Not necessarily by who won, but maybe just, expected a closer score and maybe even a more competitive game. But the Chiefs' offensive line was decimated, and Tampa Bay won a Super Bowl off of their front seven. They were just attacking all game long, all 4 quarters of that Super Bowl, just harassing Patrick Mahomes. The most incredible stat I've ever seen out of any NFL game happened from that Super Bowl. And that's the fact that Patrick Mahomes scrambled for 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage in that game.
He ran
500 yards behind the line of scrimmage throughout that game.
And he still threw dots.
Oh yeah. He was still putting the ball. I mean, he was side arming, Superman throwing balls to his guys off of helmets and off of hands that guys were dropping. I mean, it was crazy. So the Buccaneers, win a Super Bowl. Tom Brady wins his 7th Super Bowl, first away from New England in his first year as the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. So, cool kind of story for him. I obviously hated every second of it as a Packers fan. It was rough, and I at least, wanted that vindication of like, well, if the Bucs were going to beat the Packers, at least like I can watch Pat Mahomes just destroy them in the Super Bowl, and that just didn't happen. So it was a bitter taste to end what was a fun season last year, but it's sports. It happens.
Yeah.
But this is the beautiful part of sports. You reset and you come back and everybody tries and get better. You make moves, you make plays, you get guys in, you hopefully get healthier and you revamp and you reload and you go right back at it. So all 32 teams are just excited to get out there, or 30 teams, sorry. They're just excited to get out there. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm excited. I think this is a very, very interesting storyline laden season. We're going to have a lot of fun. So what we're going to do, Toddeh and viewers, on this preview, what we're going to do is we're going to go through each division in football this year and predict the final standings of those divisions. And then we're going to talk about the potential playoff picture, what that might look like. We're going to talk about our conference championship games that we're expected, the winners of those games, and then our Super Bowl matchup, and then our who we're predicting today to win the Super Bowl. And then we're also going to predict the 6 major awards in the NFL. So that would be obviously the MVP, the Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year, the Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, and Coach of the Year. So 7 awards. My bad. So that's going to be our show today. We're just going to go through what we expect to be a super fun NFL season. We'll talk, like I said, about our storylines and things like that. Hopefully Michael gets in here at some point to voice his opinion, but he did put them down in some notes for us. So they'll at least be out there and on record for us. The first thing I wanted to do, Toddeh, talking about last year, let's recap who won those 7 major awards last year, just as a reminder. So last year, your MVP, your most valuable player in the NFL, was Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Had just an unbelievable year statistically, just doing GOAT things once again. Looked poised to get his 2nd Super Bowl ring, and football gods and whatnot, and with some unfortunate ref calls, prevented that from potentially happening. So it is what it is, but you know what? So he still walked away with the MVP. The Offensive Player of the Year last year was Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry. Eclipsed 2,000 yards on the ground, so that's an easy no-brainer there. Defensive Player of the Year, big shock here. It was Aaron Donald for what feels like the 17th time in a row that Aaron Donald dominates the game of football. I mean, the things that he can do from the defensive line standpoint is just it's incredible. The havoc that he causes alone. I mean, we've all seen the screenshots and the highlights and the clips of him basically getting quadruple teamed by an offensive line and still either busting through it or at least, putting pressure on that opposing quarterback. So just crazy. I will admit, I forgot who the Offensive Rookie of the Year was. And it was Los Angeles Chargers rookie quarterback, obviously, Justin Herbert.
That?
I don't know. Because it's been 7 months, Toddeh.
Who else would you have thought it would have been?
I didn't think it was anybody else. I just totally forgot who it even would have been. Gone.
This is why he has an 88 on Madden. This is why his teammates are mad. Just people like you. You're the Raiders.
Oh, all right now. The Defensive Rookie of the Year was no surprise. Chase Young out of the Washington football team, defensive end. Had a fantastic year. And the Comeback Player, I think, was probably the easiest award to give out last year to Alex Smith, obviously. I mean, just the fact that as soon as he stepped on a football field, there was no way anybody else was getting that award last year. So, and then the Coach of the Year was actually Kevin Stefanski, head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So
deservedly.
No problem with any of those award winners there. Just interesting to look back. Like I said, it's been 7 months, so it's interesting to look back and see, who won those awards last year and to kind of set the bar of what we're expecting this year. So, Toddeh, do you want to do awards first, or do you want to go through the actual regular season standings first?
Let's go with standings first.
Okay.
We'll do standings, and then our awards will make sense.
Perfect. Not a problem at all. So we are obviously recording this Friday evening, September 10th. Week 1 has already kicked off. We had Thursday night football last night on Thursday, September 9th. Kicked off the Week 1 and the NFL regular season. Tampa Bay, obviously, as the defending Super Bowl champions, got to play their Week 1 game at home. They played against the Dallas Cowboys, and that actually turned out to be a really, really good game. And I don't know about you, the most impressive part of that game, I know Dallas ended up losing it on a last-second field goal because, of course, Tom Brady, they gave him too much time, and, of course, Tom Brady went down the field and was aided also by a questionable non-offensive pass interference call against Chris Godwin. Be that as it may, you kind of knew when you give – there's certain guys that when you give the ball back to them with a chance to win, especially if it's just a field goal, there's certain guys across the history of the league that you're like, oh, crap, I don't want to give the ball back to this guy. Yeah. Tom Brady obviously is at the top of that list. Aaron Rodgers is another one of those guys. Andrew Luck was another one of those guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, heck, even Phillip Rivers, there was just a handful of guys like that you just don't want to give the ball back to with any time on the clock. Let alone, I think Dallas gave him like a minute 20 to get to and they didn't have any timeouts, but you still gave him a minute 20 to get into field goal range with Tom Brady and those big wide receivers that he had last night.
So you're telling me they should have punted it away, is what you're telling me. Never bet on the Cowboys, everybody. Never bet on the Cowboys. Even when you want them to disappoint you, they don't.
Nobody is surprised that Tom Brady ended up with that win last night. So, but you know what? The most impressive thing of that game to me was watching Dak Prescott. Dude threw the ball 48 times last night, completed like 40. Without looking at it again, it was like he was like 36 of 48 for over 400 yards, and I think 4 touchdowns, at least 3 touchdowns, if not 4. I should have looked at the stats. It's fine, but he is back. He's totally healthy, at least right now. Looks great. Looks right back to what we expect elite Dak Prescott to be looking like. Mm-hmm. So that was just really nice to see. He's I'm not a Cowboys fan by any means, but Dak Prescott's a good dude. He's one of those guys you don't want to wish. I don't wish harm on any player. Even the ones that don't like, it's just not right. But it's good to see him come back and come back strong right away. It would have been just sad to kind of watch him kick off the season if he struggled, and it wouldn't have been good. So, but man, holy crap! Why did Mike McCarthy feel the need to throw the ball 48 times? I understand.
I understand why.
It was their game plan because of how good Tampa's front 7 is.
Oh no, I was going to say that.
No, that's exactly what it was.
I was going to say because their best player is their quarterback.
That may also be true.
Because Ezekiel is trash.
But here's the deal, Toddeh. I think Dallas just literally laid out a blueprint for the rest of the league into how you potentially beat that Tampa Bay defense. Because if you watched that game last night, it wasn't a lot of deep passes, because that's the problem when you're facing a front 7 like that. Your quarterback, I don't care how good your offensive line is or whatever protection, you don't have time to let deep routes develop. So what does Dallas do? Dallas, instead of running into the teeth of that front 7 or giving that front 7 time to pressure and blitz the quarterback, they end up saying, all right, here's our game plan. We're going to hit you with misdirections and screens and short little button hooks and just little quick out routes. We are just going to dink and dive you for 4 quarters. That way your front 7 essentially gets nullified and your cornerbacks have to play perfect one-on-one ball. And for a lot of the game last night, Tampa's defense could not stop the Cowboys offense. So I really think the Cowboys offense laid out a blueprint for the rest of the league into, hey, here's how you at least neutralize that terrifying front 7 that Tampa has put back together. So it was fun. It was a really fun game. So good way to kick off the season. I think the NFL is happy with how that played out, of course. So everybody wins except for Cowboys fans. Sorry, guys, but
sucks for them. This is what they get.
So with that, why don't we jump right into to the Cowboys division here, Toddeh? We'll start with the NFC, and we'll get started right away with the NFC East. And so we're just going to predict. I don't necessarily need final records because I didn't take the time to figure out if this team goes 11-6, it means nah. I just want standings. So in the NFC East, last year we had one of the funniest divisions I've ever seen in sports history because
they were garbage.
The winner of the NFC East last year was the Washington football team with the final record of 7 wins and 9 losses, under 500. Here's my favorite stat. They were 3-5 at home last year. Washington was. Every other division winner besides the Tennessee Titans were 6-2 or 7-1 in their 8 home games.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee was 5-3. And for the record, Indianapolis, who finished with the same record as Tennessee, but second in the division based on tiebreakers, Indy was 6-2 at home last year. So again, every division winner was over 500, except for Washington, who obviously was under 500. But the fact that they still went 3-5 at home and won the division is crazy. That's just crazy. But I think this division, top to bottom, at least got better. Now, how much better? I don't think much. I don't think any team in there is all of a sudden going to win 13 games or even 12 games. But Washington won this division last year with 7 wins. I'm guessing that the winner of this division will win 9 or 10 games and at least be over 500. Fingers crossed. But I've got my NFC East final standings as the Washington football team will go back to back. Then the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants at the bottom. So it's going to be an interesting division, like I said, because I think they're going to be separated. Like I think first and fourth are going to be separated by no more than 3 games. So it's going to be a really interesting division to see play out this year, basically. I'm sticking with Washington only because they brought in a veteran quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Their defense is top tier. If they could just kind of, and like I said, the rest of the division, I don't expect to run away with it. So if Washington could just kind of hit a hot streak, win 3 or 4 in a row, and just kind of fall ass backwards into a couple of wins here. Like, I think they can just kind of almost do what they did last year, but just, win a couple of more games too.
I don't agree on the Washington point there. I mean, Fitzpatrick is average.
Sure.
At best.
But Washington won this division without an average quarterback last year.
How dare you? Alex Smith was amazing for all the games he played.
Yes, the 4 games that he played.
Dwayne Haskins is a quarterback.
All right. Sounds good. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you see the NFC East shaking out then?
All right. So quarterbacks are what matters in wins. Let's face it. They give you the highest percentage of win share on a team. So Dallas is going to be my number 1 because they've got a quarterback. Washington's probably going to be number 2. Like you said, they were a good team last year, or the best team in the division. And if they have a stable quarterback position, they'll probably be second. Third, I'm going with the Giants. Probably about the same record they got last year. I don't trust Daniel Jones. He's a quarterback that hasn't really shown anything, and they haven't really built either the team they built around him isn't good or he's not good. It's one or the other. Well,
the only thing I'll say about the Giants, too, is it's going to be a completely different offense, at least this year, bringing back a guy like Saquon Barkley. When you get a chance to add him. But
he's kind of injured, though.
Well, and I mean,
not the same pop he had his first season or back in Penn State when he was running wild.
But also, I mean, as good as he is, can it's so hard for a running back to be the difference maker in a bad team all of a sudden becoming an above average team. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey can only do so much for the Panthers. Saquon Barkley can only do so much. Yeah. Even the Titans have Tannehill as QB. So
right,
where QB plays to sink the Giants.
Sure.
And then Eagles are trash. So
yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. I went with Cowboys in second because, like you said, it comes down to the quarterbacks in this division. I went with Washington just because I was like, look, they stabilized the quarterback position, and their defense is still strong. They can find a way. This division is always so wacky anyway. Who knows? And then, you've got Dak, who looks really good in week 1. So, yeah, there'll probably be a push for the division. And then I think the Eagles and Giants are fighting for the cellar just because I don't believe in Daniel Jones either. And it's only Jalen Hurts' second season in the league. First season really as the guy. So you just don't know quite yet what you got in him. Now, the Eagles did go out and add, Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver Devontae Smith, who Jalen Hurts played in college with. So that's got to be huge for his confidence just to get literally his security blanket in Alabama plucked into Philadelphia is incredible. Because if you're Jalen Hurts, I would hope you would realize like Philly makes that draft pick just because they believe you're the guy. Like, I don't think Philly takes Devonta Smith if they don't have Jalen Hurts or don't believe Jalen Hurts is their future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like I don't think they trade away Carson Wentz if they don't believe in Jalen Hurts. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts, but also I would say there's a lot of belief behind him too. They're not just throwing him to the fire because they have no other options. They're throwing him to the fire because for whatever reason or other, they believe that he can succeed.
They believed he was a good backup when they drafted him. Now they have to believe he's going to be a good starter. If not, tank it, get a new QB.
Yep. So, and then it looks like Michael picked the Cowboys to win the NFC East as well.
Makes sense. Good on him. He's a smart man right there. Smart man.
So 2 for Dallas, and I'm going out on a limb with Washington. I think it's going to be a fun division. We'll keep it moving. We're going to look at the NFC West. I'm going to go out not on a limb necessarily because I think a lot of people think this, but the NFC West is going to be the toughest division in football from top to bottom. I think the fourth place team in that division, whoever it's going to be, the fourth place team in that division is going to be like 7-9 or 8-8.
I'll agree with you. That's gonna be tough. That's probably the toughest.
That's insane to think that a team's gonna go hover around 500 and be last in their division. But that's how talented this division is. So I've got it shaking out. I've got the Rams winning the division behind Matthew Stafford. I really, really believe in Matthew Stafford getting a clean start with the Rams. I think it's a perfect fit. If he wasn't going to get a chance to come here to Indy and team up with us, I think the Rams are an also perfect fit for a guy like Stafford. Sean McVay obviously loves to air it out. He's got that West Coast offense, and Matthew Stafford is one of the biggest arms we've ever seen. And he's not afraid to chuck the ball and throw the ball downfield. So it'll be really interesting to see him play with some level of expectation because I don't think he's ever had any expectations in Detroit. Like Detroit fans have obviously, put expectations on him and things like that, but I don't think national media wise, anybody's ever really believed in a Detroit team that he was a part of, and not of his own fault at all. Just it is the way it is what it is. So now he goes to the Rams, who, they're a stable playoff contending team. And now he's got to lead a much better offense and a much better roster than I think he's really ever had in Detroit. So that'll be interesting. I think he wins that. I think they win that division. The Cardinals, I think, are going to be second in that division, which that bumps the Seahawks for me to third. And then the 49ers end up fourth. And again, like I said, that's not because I think the 49ers are a bad team. I just think this division is so tough. Somebody has to be at the bottom.
I'll go with that.
Again, I mean, and it comes down to, like I said, for me, it's going to come down to a lot of quarterback play. I think Kyler Murray is still elevating his game. coming into year 3 now, or year 4, is it even? Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, obviously right now Arizona feels like it has some kind of window because they went out and made moves. Remember last year they made the trade for DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year they back that up with some more aggressive moves, and they go out and get JJ Watt. They bring in AJ Green. So I mean, they're putting a defense together, led by JJ Watt. Buda Baker is back there. You know, they lost Patrick Peterson, which is a big blow. So that'll be interesting to see how that cornerback room takes the hit of losing their lead guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're a good team. So I think they just won't be able to match up at the end of the season with the Rams.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks, I know there's Russell Wilson. I just don't see a whole lot left of them. They'll still end up with, like I said, they'll be 9-7, but I think the Cardinals will also be right at 9-7 or 9-8 and 10-7. And so it'll just be tough. And then the 49ers, I think, they're just going to kind of turn to Trey Lance at some point in the season, and it'll be tough for that kid to come out there and win games right away. So that's kind of how I see that division shaking out.
I agree with all those points. I mean, San Francisco and Seattle, there are 2 placements. I mean, it all depends on injuries, really. I mean,
sure.
Seattle's kind of gotten younger because a lot of the older members have left, and so they kind of had to replace them.
Yeah.
But San Francisco is pretty injury prone because of last year what happened. So if everybody's healthy, I mean, San Francisco can bump up there probably above Arizona. But if they get the same injuries as last year, they're going to be bottom of the pack. So, I think Rams are on top no matter what because Stafford's going to throw for 5,000 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe 6,000 for 17 games.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. It's just crazy to think what offense he's going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Out there where, like I said, where Sean McVay is just going to be like, yeah, dude, you're the guy. Just air it out. And he's so happy
it's not Jared Goff who can't throw.
Right. And he's got pieces all over the place. He's got Cooper Kupp. He's got Robert Woods.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got guys down the field to get the ball to. It looks like, wow, a bit of a shocker. Michael in the NFC West, he went with the Cardinals to take that division. So,
oh, wow.
And it'll be interesting. Like I said, there he goes. You know what? If I'm not going to bash myself for picking the Washington football team to win that crappy NFC East, I'm not going to go.
You're just happy he picked the Cardinals. Don't lie.
Hey, I mean, I'm not going to be upset if the Cardinals win that division. I was trying to be a little realistic here. So I think the Rams are just be a better team. They'll probably win 11 games. I think the Cardinals will win 10. They'll be right there.
Okay, understandable.
So in the NFC North, pretty straightforward for me. Packers are going to run away with that division, I think.
Yeah,
and then the Bears, Vikings, and Lions. Throw it in there. I mean, you can shuffle those bottom 3 if you want, but I don't see Detroit doing anything. I don't see Minnesota doing anything. I see the Bears at about a 500 pace and the Packers winning 13 games again. So
I'm going to flip it. So we'll half flip it. I'm Green Bay on top, obviously, because Aaron Rodgers is amazing. I'm putting Detroit second because Jared Goff isn't horrible as a quarterback. Yeah. Matthew Stafford. However, new coach.
Okay.
New system. And I think that's going to be good for Detroit. I also think it's only because the other 2 teams are going to crash and burn. The Vikings, COVID issues. That's going to cause them probably to lose a couple games, lose their key players because Kirk Cousins doesn't know what vaccination is. Chicago is garbage.
But he'll play in plexiglass, man. He'll play in plexiglass.
It's totally legal. The refs love that stuff. Oh yeah,
because you can throw a football through. Because you can throw a football through plexiglass.
Just run up to the quarterback and you push the plexiglass. He fell down.
But you can't touch a plexiglass above the shoulders because
no.
Yeah,
gotta go below you have to go under the plexiglass below the legs to scoop up.
You gotta like Bugs Bunny it. You gotta like dig a little tunnel and pop up. There you go. I like.
And then Chicago's just garbage anyway. So I mean, Mitch Trubisky's not there, the former MVP. So they're not gonna do anything. oh boy, we drafted a quarterback. We're not going to play because we're going to play Andy Dalton. So they're garbage.
I mean, and even
Green Bay, Lions,
okay,
Vikings, Bears.
Okay.
And then the Vikings get rid of their crappy quarterback. The Bears get rid of their crappy coach. Everybody wins.
There you go. Yeah, so in the NFC North, this is one of the storylines I want to talk about because it's a huge one with the Pack. If you look at the Packers team, it's all on Aaron Rodgers, and I just personally, I cannot wait to see a bleeped off Aaron Rodgers coming Aaron Rodgers scorned for 17 games, just coming out here and going to torch everybody because not only is he I think he's not only pissed.
We've seen that before when they won 6 games in a row that one year.
Yeah, well, that was so that was a different switch when he was mad at the fans for their slow start. Yeah. That was one think about that. Think about that moment. Now, in my mind for this year, take that times 100 because that's the level of chip on his shoulder, pissed off, fire in his eyes, Mamba mentality, nah. Everybody thinks I'm done. Think about
he should have been done. He should have gone on Jeopardy. I would have loved it.
That would have been great. But listen, seriously, think about the fact that not only is he kind of pissed off, not only is he pissed off at the Packers, right?
Yeah.
But I think he's pissed off at the rest of the league for also kind of just forget about him. So he's going to come back. And I mean, I'm expecting him to throw fireballs into the chest of all of his receivers. And I am just
their poor hands.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. And Aaron Rodgers scored is going to be so much fun to watch for 17 games because not only has he scored for all of the offseason stuff, but which was off the field and blah, blah, blah drama. Will he play? Will he not play? What's going blah, blah, blah. All of that. Talk about what happened on the field with him too, where he's in another NFC title game. He doesn't get it done. There's questions about, the coaching decisions. There's questions about the ref calls. There's questions about this and that. He's just pissed the F off. And he's going to go 17-0. He's about to just go 17-0, throw for 6,000 yards, 45 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And it's just going to be so much fun to watch. To watch him run through the league this year. Because I think we're going to see, somehow, some way we're going to see an Aaron Rodgers that we've never seen before, which is incredible because Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback we've never seen before already. So it's just going to be so much fun. Looking at Michael's predictions for the NFC North, he also had the Green Bay Packers. So this is the first division that we all have agreed on. So sorry, Packers, something will obviously happen and this will be fun. But so
poor Packers,
yeah, I know. Our last NFC division is the NFC South. I looking at this division again, kind of simple for me. I think that as much as I don't want them to, I think the Bucs are going to win the division with Tom Brady, especially after watching Week 1. They still look good. That team is fine. I've got the Saints and then the Panthers and then the Falcons in 4th. The Saints are going to be really interesting with Jameis Winston, bringing in the new era, the post Drew Brees era in New Orleans. My biggest question for that team is not even really related to this year. I'm curious how much longer Sean Payton wants to coach. Just because honestly, there was a part of me that thought he might walk away with Drew Brees, just because they won a Super Bowl, they did it to get they've done their thing. So I kind of
mean, he shouldn't be a coach anyways because of bounty gate, but whatever.
And not wrong.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Wrong. So
Colts almost want to buy him out of his contract too and bring him here before Frank Reich too. Don't forget that. That would have been bad.
I forgot about that. So I'm curious to see how many more years Sean Payton dons the headset. I don't really think even with Jameis Winston, I don't know. Some people seem to think that they're going to be an all right team this year. I don't see it. It's just because of my diminishing belief in Jameis Winston. And like we said earlier, quarterback dictates more often than not. Quarterback dictates how far a team goes.
He's better than Carson Wentz.
So I don't know. I don't believe in him. So it'll be tough. The Panthers will be interesting with Sam Darnold down there now. So that'll be
interesting, as meaning bad, right?
Probably. Yeah. But they do get just like the Giants get Saquon Barkley back this year. The Panthers are getting Christian McCaffrey back this year. So I mean, who knows what Carolina could look like? That's a team that I think they've got a big margin of win-loss record that they can be. I think their floor is super low, but their ceiling could be pretty high. I mean, if Sam Darnold kind of goes off and Christian McCaffrey does his thing, I mean, who's to say that team can't catch some fire, and go 500 or win 9 or 10 games and kind of make some noise? It'll be interesting. And then the Falcons, I don't think there's really anything in the Falcons except for Kyle Pitts. It's going to be so much fun to watch all year. Super stoked to watch that.
Too bad you put Gronk in. You didn't have Gronk in as your tight end this weekend in fantasy. Man got you 29 points in ESPN. You had him on your bench.
I sure did. For the 35 points that I'm going to get from Kyle Pitts, we'll see how it goes.
Does Matt Ryan 35. Can't throw?
35. 35.
And this is why the Falcons should not have drafted him with their pick. With 8 overall?
35.
We drafted anything else to help the offense, like a quarterback.
Fourth overall.
But no, I agree with what your listings are. I think Tampa Bay is obviously going to run away with this division.
Sure.
New Orleans with Jameis Winston replacing Drew Brees. Jameis Winston got LASIK. He was a great backup last year. He won the seat to be the quarterback this year. He's obviously going to throw at least 40 touchdowns and 30 picks. A difference of 10 interceptions. So this is a major step upgrade for him. And it'll be a good start for his career in New Orleans. Carolina, Sam Darnold. Well, at least there's Christian McCaffrey to throw to, so they'll get points. That defense is kind of shoddy. I don't really trust it too much to win them games. I didn't really win them anything last year there. And then Falcons they have the yips ever since the Super Bowl, so they're not the same team ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's totally fair.
Love their owner though. Good guy.
All right. Switching over to the AFC side of things. We'll get started. We'll go just like we did the first time around. We'll get started with the AFC East. Let's take a look. Last year, the Bills won that division handily with a record of 13-3. The Dolphins were second at 10-6. The Patriots, under the leadership of Cam Newton, first year there, were 7-9, and the Jets win a woeful 2-14. Believe it or not, I expect the standings to look the exact same this year. I think the Bills are going to win the division. Got the Dolphins in second because they're still a really solid team. I think Tua is fine. I don't know why Miami players seem to not believe in him already, but I think he's going to be a good enough to above average quarterback. And then I think the Patriots will be in third. I know that's probably the blasphemy of the segment so far for you. Yeah. And then the Jets will still be at the bottom. I don't expect the Jets to make it. I expect them to probably win 2 games again this year.
Now it's my turn to speak.
Take it away.
You're right about the top and you're right about the bottom. The middle, though, the meat of the sandwich here. You're forgetting New England has Tom Brady. Oh, I'm sorry, Mac Jones. They have Mac Jones.
I'm not forgetting that.
The second coming of Tom Brady.
How many times are we going to hear Return of the Mac played at Gillette Stadium this year?
I mean, at the Colts Stadium, they're going to do it every time Marlon Mack comes on. But
which they should. They should.
I mean, that's a great idea. But
it's fantastic.
I mean, New England has a bunch of players coming back that were out last season because they didn't want to play because of COVID or they were injured. So they're refreshed, reloaded. Bill Belichick uses his witchcraft and magic powers to get himself the best quarterback of the draft at 15th. So congrats to him. So
Timeout.
Trevor Lawrence is not the best quarterback of the draft. I'll say it now. He's going to suck in Jacksonville. He's going to get ruined.
Okay, but if that's the case, that's not him being a bad quarterback. That's Jacksonville's a horrible franchise.
If he was a good quarterback, he would persevere like Andrew Luck did with the Colts.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm not.
That was a good take right there. That was a good take. He persevered with us. He took us to 11-5 in his first season.
I know,
Chris, because we were that bad. He was so good.
We were terrible. He took a 2-win team. He took a 2-win roster. Basically, it was the same roster. They just implanted Andrew Luck in it, and he led them to an 11-5 record. Yeah. I know. I watched every second of it. I know.
Exactly. Mac Jones would be able to do that. Trevor Lawrence would.
Oh my God.
Well, Trevor Lawrence is the next coming of Andrew Luck. No, he's not. Be quiet.
I don't think so.
Sit down, everybody. But no, yeah, in New England, they have a better roster built around them for Mac Jones to do well. Plus, he beat out Cam Newton. So, bye, Cam.
I mean, Indy also has a competent head coach. If you're
what?
If you're comparing New England to Jacksonville, no.
We're talking about Jacksonville. Yeah, true that too.
Talking about Urban Meyer, no.
Urban Meyer trains players like kids. Who would have guessed? Not me. Oh, wait, yes, I would have. That's why he had a racist on his team. The coaching staff, don't forget that he hired a racist on his coaching staff. And players like, this guy was racist to us in college. Why is he here? Blame your front office, buddy.
Tell him, Toddeh.
Racist? Yes, he was. The players said he was. Not hard.
Tell him, Toddeh. Tell him. Yeah. You tell him.
But no, yeah. That division's done. Buffalo wins it.
Yeah, I mean... it'll be. It's always fun to see the AFC East won by a non-New England team. So
exactly by future MVP Josh Allen.
I'm here for it. All right, looking at the AFC West, this is an interesting division. Not necessarily because of who's going to win it, because I think everybody across the globe knows that Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this division again. That as long as injuries don't pile up or anything crazy like that, it's going to be really hard for one of these other three teams, and the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos to be a better team than the two-time defending AFC champion and Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs team. So I've got the Chiefs winning it. I've got the Chargers finishing in second, then the Raiders, and then the Broncos. Which kind of hurt me because I really want Teddy Bridgewater to succeed in Denver. I really do, just because I like Teddy Bridgewater. But I just don't think there's anything down there for him. He's got Jerry Jeudy, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's literally
which is good, which is great. But he's only a second-year guy, and it's just gonna be tough to be like, cool, hey, you're gonna help me win 10 games. So that'll be tough. But yeah, so I've got Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos. The Chargers really are what makes this division interesting, because the Chargers year in and year out always seem to be that team that's like, hey, on paper, they're solid. They're a 12+ win team on paper. And then, usually by this time of the year before week 1, somebody's gone down with a season-ending injury. Melvin Gordon's down, Hunter Henry's down, Keenan Allen's out for 6 weeks. And with a broken hand or whatever it is, it's always injuries that pile up. Now, what was always interesting was, as much as those injuries piled up, they never got to Phillip Rivers, the quarterback. He's the the sturdy one of the bunch, but he can only do so much with practice squad guys and makeshift pieces because they were just trying to survive injuries. But if they stay healthy this year, which so far so good, they got through a training camp, they got through preseason, this is better than they've done in the last 3 years health-wise. So I think they're going to be a solid team for the wild card hunt. I just don't expect them to compete for the division just because the Chiefs are that good. But Justin Herbert, obviously, like we said, is the reigning offensive rookie of the year. So people, myself included, expecting a big second-year leap from Justin Herbert. And he's got pieces around him. And the big key addition, if you will, for that defense, Derwin James coming back. He missed all of last season, basically, if I remember right. And he is an all-pro defender, an all-pro, linebacker out there that they've been missing. So he's just kind of And he's kind of that hybrid, almost not necessarily Tyrann Mathieu, but that chess piece that you can just kind of throw all over a defense, and he just makes plays. Just attack. He's like Darius Leonard for the Colts. Like, you just kind of move him around all over the middle of the field, and he just plays sideline to sideline and makes plays. So not having that guy leading your defensive unit last year was just a big blow. So to get him back this year, to get your quarterback another, a real offseason and a real preseason training camp under his belt. Like, the Chargers have to be feeling pretty good about where they are outside of the fact that they've got Kansas City in their division. So that's just a tough draw.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you on that point. Kansas City, obviously, number one for me. I want to believe in the Raiders. Okay. I want to believe in that team. I think, they could be a 10-7 team, maybe get second in that division, fight for a wild card. But their defense is crap. So I have no idea if they're going to be any good. So,
yep.
Kansas City, Chargers. Denver's defense is really good, but their quarterback play sucks. So it's kind of a toss-up between Denver and LA.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Can't say. Yeah, but Teddy Bridgewater was butt last year. He was booty. He was good when he was with, the Vikings before his knee blew out on the field for him.
Yes.
And he was good as a backup for New Orleans, but he was booty last year.
But look, he just beat out Drew Lock, man. Come on now.
The Panthers are paying Denver so he doesn't play in Carolina. They're paying Denver saying, please, we will pay for his salary. Take him off our hands because we don't want him. And Drew Lock sucks anyway, so it's not that big of a... it's not, hey, Drew
that's
Lock
that's the connection I was trying to get you to make.
If they didn't want Drew Lock, they should have just drafted a quarterback. If they were like, oh yeah, we don't trust Drew Lock, we better draft a quarterback. No, they didn't even do that. They could have gotten Mac Jones if they wanted to.
I am surprised that they decided to go the veteran quarterback route because they're not a playoff contending team that's just missing that quarterback piece. Like, that's usually when, like, the Colts last year kind of had to go veteran quarterback and get Phillip Rivers because they had a roster, they had pieces around them that,
we can't talk because we have Carson Wentz and he's about the same as Teddy Bridgewater. So I'll go Denver over Los Angeles. You're right. Las Vegas.
Oh, I was like, wait. Yeah, whoa.
Wrong teams.
So if you look at last season, the Chiefs won this division handily. They finished 14-2. The Raiders were second at 8-8, right at 500. Then the Chargers were 7-9, and the Broncos were 5-11. So that's kind of the disparity that I expect this division to end up with. The Chiefs winning 12 to 14 games, and then that second place team winning no more than 10 games, and bottom feeders then. Moving on to the AFC North. This will be an interesting one too. So last year, the Steelers won the division at 12-4, but then the Ravens and the Browns were both 11-5. This division had 3 11+ win teams last year. And then you had the Bengals who went 4-11-1 after losing Joe Burrow to a torn ACL early in the year. So obviously didn't expect a lot out of Cincy before that happened, and definitely not after the Joe Burrow injury. But yeah, the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns all with 11 or more wins last year. I don't expect that to happen again this year, even just particularly because, truth be told, I think the Steelers are going to take a step back or two. I don't expect them to be that good. Again, if you talk about quarterback play, like Ben Roethlisberger is getting old. Drew Brees, he's right around Drew Brees' age, and Drew Brees just walked away from the game because the last time we saw Drew Brees on the field, he couldn't throw the ball 20 yards down the field. Last time we saw Ben Roethlisberger on the field, kind of the same thing. Just don't have, they just don't have that zip, that velocity, that accuracy anymore. And that happens. Father Time is undefeated. Tom Brady excluded. Father Time is undefeated.
Tom Brady is Father Time.
Oh snap! That's an M. Night Shyamalan twist right there.
It is.
Holy crap! So I expect the Steelers to take a step back. Basically, I'm looking at the North. I'm taking the Browns to win this division this year. I'm taking the Browns to win the division. Ravens to be second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Bengals third
Mm-hmm.
and the Steelers last.
Yep.
Actually.
Yep.
And before I go anymore, I forgot to take a look at Michael's.
I was about to say that too. Yeah, we forgot his pick.
Yeah. So let's see.
Drop the mic.
So he had Tampa Bay winning the NFC South. So we all three picked them to win there. In the AFC, he had the Bills winning the East, the Chiefs winning the West, and in the AFC North. Wow. Okay. We'll get his after you go. But
okay, mine's the exact same as yours. Browns have a great defense and great quarterback. Baltimore Ravens, great quarterback play, obviously, but they have nobody actually like good on their team. So that's a problem. Bengals, Joe Burrow's coming back and he can throw the ball. Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger can't throw the ball 20 yards. So how are they going to win football games? It's not going to be TJ Watt on the defense scoring points for them. No, they have to have a quarterback that does work. And Juju Smith is just going to dance on the field. So Pittsburgh, to the bottom you go. Sorry.
Love it.
Who did Michael pick?
He picked Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
He picked Pittsburgh to win the division. So I wish he was here to try to back that up. I'm very curious. I'm very curious what his thought process there would be.
Defense wins games, apparently. That's the only thing.
So far, everything's made sense that he's done, which I'm surprised by. But every other one so far has been fine.
I know.
But I got nothing on that one.
If Pittsburgh wins the Super Bowl, whoopsie daisies.
Oh my God!
Our bad.
I won't be on the podcast. I won't do it.
They beat Arizona in the Super Bowl.
Stop it!
It'll be like the Mavs versus the Heat, but the Heat win both times instead of 1v1.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's terrible. Nobody wins then.
This is the worst
NBA
timeline.
loses. This is the worst timeline. If that would have happened, Toddeh, the NBA would have folded. All right, the whole association.
No, they wanted them to win
gone.
the second. They wanted them to win the second time too, because that was the Heatles.
All right, Toddeh. Toddeh, we saved the best for last, buddy. We saved the best division for last. AFC South. So you'll be shocked to know that I'm going with the Colts to win the AFC South. Let's be honest. They were second in the division last year by a tiebreaker, but they had the same record as Tennessee, and it took a miracle, stupid Houston Texans blunder in Week 17 to allow Tennessee to even kick a field goal to win that game to win the division. So, anyway, I'm over that. But so the Colts are right there. The national media storylines aside of apparently Tennessee dominating the division last year, which is just categorically false because, like I said, they finished with the same record and it took a Week 17 last second kick after a Hail Mary pass to beat Houston. So I know the Colts beat Houston on 2 miracle plays last year as well, but those were at least anyway, whatever. So yeah. That would just rub me the wrong way when they're like, Tennessee dominated the AFC South last year. Will they do it again this year? I'm like, well, they didn't dominate it in the first place. So anyway, I expect the Colts. I was like, I'm taking the Colts to win, Titans in the second. I'll take the Jags third just because they have a quarterback. And I think Houston's it's going to be tough for Houston to win a game this year. I think. They already came out and said that
their under over is 4 games, Chris.
I understand that. And I would hammer the under so fast.
Tyrod Taylor's a good quarterback. He's a
Sure.
Super Bowl winning quarterback, Chris. Never forget that. With which team? He had an elite quarterback that he was backing up.
He wasn't. It's not Philly and Atlanta. What the heck?
He had an elite quarterback he was backing up.
The easy answer would be New England, but I don't think he was up in New England.
No, elite quarterback, Chris.
You can say it all. Who is it? It's
Joe
almost 1 in
Flacco
the
was the
morning.
elite quarterback he was backing up. It was the Baltimore Ravens. He was on that team
really
when they won the Super Bowl.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I never would have got that. I never would have thought that long ago. Okay. That's fun to know. Did not know that.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I understand they got Tyrod Taylor, who in terms of backups is like a Jacoby Brissett. So, you're happy with him being a backup and being there. He's not who you want to be starting week 1 on a playoff contending team. Let's just be honest. So, and no matter how good he may or may not be, he doesn't have a team, he doesn't have any talent around him. Oh, but he's got DeAndre Hopkins. No, he doesn't. Oh, well, at least his defense has Jadeveon Clowney and JJ Watt. No, it doesn't. Oh, hey, got Jonathan Joseph. He was an elite cornerback 5 years ago. Now he's 40 years old and done. So, I mean, like there's just no team there. So it's not even on Tyrod Taylor. It's just there's no team there. The only reason that team won games last year was Deshaun Watson. And so you take that out of there, there's nothing there. There's just not a lot. There's no pieces there. Their number 1 wide receiver is like Kiki Cutie. And he's a fine wide receiver and can absolutely torch you. But again, if he's number 1 on your depth chart, like you don't have a whole lot of talent. So anyway, yeah, I'll be surprised if Houston wins a game this year. I will. Now, granted, they'll probably split with the Colts and make me eat my words, but I'll say it today. I will be surprised if they win a game. So Colts, Titans, Jags, Texans. Thoughts?
I really have to see the Colts their first game. Colts have upgraded their roster. Tennessee's kept it the same, really, minus some additions to the offense, but their defense has lost some players, so it's not as good. So our defense is elite.
The offense lost some players too.
Yeah, but they got Julio Jones, so.
But they lost Corey Davis and their tight end, David
Julio Jones, Chris.
Yeah, 36-year-old Julio Jones. So
I mean, I think I'll put Colts at 1, Tennessee at 2, Jacksonville 3, Houston 4. Jacksonville maybe Trevor Lawrence gets them to like 11 and 6. Maybe. Doubtful. 100% doubtful because that roster's horrible from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And their number 1 running back got hurt when they drafted him, when they shouldn't have drafted him where they did. So, it is what it is. They'll win like 7 games.
That's pretty high.
Max.
That's pretty good. Again, for the
they'll
record,
beat us once. So that's 1 game right there. They'll beat the Texans twice. That's 2 games there. So that's already 3.
If you look at the AFC South from last year, both the Titans and the Colts finished at 11-5, tops of the division, and then Houston went 4-12. Jacksonville went 1-15. Jacksonville won their week 1 game at home against the Indianapolis Colts, and then lost 15 straight. So, if Trevor Lawrence wins more than 1 game, it's an improvement.
True.
So, do you expect him to be a 6-win difference kind of guy? I think he can be. I don't think he will be in year 1 is also the key issue here when it comes to guys like Trevor Lawrence. Because, again, I'll stand on my soapbox and say, in the NFL particularly, there's this deep-seated problem of drafting quarterbacks in round 1, throwing them out week 1, year 1 of their careers, expecting them to be an all-pro right away, and if they're not, cutting bait and running and calling them a bust without giving them time to develop and learn how to play at an NFL level. I don't care how good they were in college. 9.9 prospects out of 10 are not NFL ready when it comes to being a franchise quarterback week 1.
Agreed.
You've got Andrew Luck, and that's about it that we've seen day 1, like in recent memory. Yeah, if you go back, people always want to say like Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning and look what he ended up doing. Yeah, did people realize how bad he was his first year? They went like 4-12 his rookie year, and at the time he set the record for most interceptions thrown in a rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
So could you imagine if that had happened in 2020, and now coming into year 2, you're like, is Peyton Manning a bust? Number 1 overall, throwing the most interceptions ever. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Colts should look into drafting somebody else and cutting. Like it sounds crazy to think about, but that's what has happened in the last 15 years. We've seen it time and time again. I mean, look at Arizona. I know we're all gushing over Kyler Murray now, but they drafted Josh Rosen, gave him less than a year with a bad roster.
True.
And then we're like, well, you're not what we expected. And now we have a chance to go get a real good quarterback, and we're actually going to build around him. So now we look like geniuses, when really they destroyed a kid's career in the process, who never had a chance. So, all right, off my soapbox. But yeah, that is just a big problem. We see year in and year out in the NFL that I can't stand. It just drives me crazy to see these kids, because that's what they are. The 21, 22-year-olds expected to take the keys to a franchise, and not a good franchise, like a franchise that had a high draft pick because they suck, and expected to just be like, here you go, make us better.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't? You must be the problem. Not the Jets. We're not the problem just because we've lost 12
Don't
plus
be
games.
Mean
so every year for the last 10 years.
Or Josh Rosen. He's tried his best, okay?
Feel bad. Okay.
I don't.
So I think we had the same AFC South: Colts, Titans, Jags, Texans. I did look at it. Michael did the Colts to win the division there. So again, I'm not really surprised with us being Colts fans that would go that way. But honestly, they're a good team. Their roster's better. All of their key guys. I mean, my biggest thing is I don't even look at the quarterback position as an area of improvement, even though I do think Carson Wentz is going to be an improved quarterback from what we saw last year with 40-some-year-old Philip Rivers. I think he's going to be a step above that, which, again, I use that as a barometer of like, okay, if 40-year-old Philip Rivers can lead that team to an 11-win record and almost go into Buffalo and should have probably won that game,
mm-hmm.
and come close and not get it done, why can't a younger, better, more athletic quarterback take that same team to a better record? Like in my mind, it just tracks that way. It's not, oh, Carson Wentz is so good, he's going to make this team better. It's just, hey, if Philip Rivers can take that team to 11 wins, why can't a younger, more athletic quarterback who already like has a rapport with the head coach and their system? And so you don't have that question of like, oh, well, he's coming into a brand new system and we don't know how he's going to like the coach. Like, no, we already know those questions. We already have those answers at least. So like a lot of things do line up for Carson Wentz to have a decent season. And what I love the most about this Colts team is that Chris Ballard has done such a good job of building a roster that doesn't need an Andrew Luck to lead them to wins. He's built a team that can throw the ball 25 times. So
with Jacoby Brissett,
I'm gonna tangent off one more time. So that game that we watched last night, the Bucks and the Cowboys, both quarterbacks, Dak Prescott coming off of a horrible season-ending injury last year, and Tom Brady at 44 years old. Both of those quarterbacks threw the ball over 40 times last night. I will sit here today and tell you we will not see Carson Wentz throw the ball 40 times this year. I don't see it. I mean, okay, it may happen because there may be games where, we fall behind and then you have to pass a lot to try and catch back up. Something may happen. So fine. The game plan is not to have Carson Wentz throw the ball 40 times. So the game plan is going to be for him to throw it 20 to 25 times and then let Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack do the rest and let that defense just eat up clock and eat up field position. Mm-hmm. Like, this team is so solid all around the board. There's just not a lot of gaping holes in it. I know T.Y. Hilton went down, but the great news is they didn't even put him on the IR. So he might be back before he might only miss 3 or 4 games, which it's T.Y. Hilton at this point. You're not wanting 17 games out of him of 4 quarters. You're not expecting that.
Yeah.
You're going to kind of put him on a pitch count to limit him hopefully for a playoff run. So that's fine. Get him 100% healthy, and at the same time, with him going down now, that gives a chance for Michael Strahan to break onto the roster and see what he has in a regular season.
Mm-hmm.
That gives Michael Pittman more chances to catch the ball. If Paris Campbell stays healthy, that gives him a lot more opportunities to make something happen. So it's so even absorbing that injury will be fine.
Yeah.
The biggest question that the Colts face is not an on the field issue, it's an off the field issue. It's the fact that they are just, as a matter of fact, they are one of the least vaccinated teams.
Currently at 80% vax, which is like 10 players unvaxxed.
Sure.
In the starting lineup.
Yeah, and that's the issue. It's not even necessarily that they're one of the least vaxxed teams. It's that the guys that aren't vaxxed are your most important players.
Mm-hmm.
Are Carson Wentz, Quentin Nelson, Darius Leonard, just to name the big three.
Yeah.
So be that as it is, regardless of how you feel about it, it doesn't matter at this point. The point is, what could very well happen is on a Friday before a game, they could be in close contact and have to sit for 5 days and miss out on regular season games. That's a matter of fact. That could happen. That and something like that. And guess what? Missing a game or two. Imagine if they have to sit out a game against, imagine if if Darius Leonard or Quentin Nelson or Carson Wentz have to sit out against Tennessee. They're probably not going to beat Tennessee without one of those three guys. And guess what? You probably need to win both of your games against Tennessee because they're going to be neck and neck with you all year. So something like that can potentially derail what should be a really special Colts season. So you hope it doesn't happen, but it's out there. There's a good chance that it could happen to them. So obviously that'll be something to keep an eye out all season. And you just kind of cross your fingers and hope that they take the extra precautions and take it seriously enough for it to not be an issue. Would be fantastic. To be able to just go out there and play 17 games would be great. So, but yeah, I mean, I think, those things aside, that, the things out of their control that we can't control right now, injuries, things like that, like the Colts should win this division, in my opinion. The Titans are a very good team. They've got a very solid roster. I think the key difference is just the fact that they're going to run Derrick Henry into the ground. And as great as he is, he can't do it all himself, and he can't do it for this long. He's already done it for 3 years now, being the 30 carry a night guy for that team. He just can't do it forever. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And we've seen what that Tennessee team looks like when Derrick Henry isn't rushing for 150 plus yards. When he's not exploding, that whole team takes a step back. So
true.
It's tough. And and the other thing is their defense is not very good. Basically, their defense is an average NFL unit. The problem with having an average defense and a run-based offense is if your average defense gets burned early in a game a couple of times and you find yourself down 2 or 3 scores, you have to score quickly, and Tennessee does not score quickly because they want to control the clock, run the ball down your throat, and methodically move down the field. So, and the Colts can run into those same issues. The Colts have slow starts to their offense. Their offense notoriously historically starts off slow. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. And, as we talked about, or you mentioned it earlier, the Colts have a huge week 1 test here at home at Lucas Oil Stadium with the Seahawks coming into town. So at least they've got them at home, but it'll be a big test right off the bat. So super excited to see that one play out. But okay, so we're going through all of our division winners. So our division my division winners, that is, my division winners in the NFC, we're looking at the Washington football team, the Rams, the Packers, and the Bucks. I'll take the Packers as the number 1 overall seed there. And I think your 2 wildcard teams are going to be the Arizona Cardinals and the Chicago Bears. In the AFC, I've got the Bills, the Chiefs, the Browns, and the Colts winning. The Chiefs will be your number 1 overall seed. My wildcard teams out of the AFC are going to be the Chargers and the Titans. Toddeh, run us through your division winners and who you're looking at for your wildcard teams real quick.
So AFC is Buffalo, Cleveland, Indy, Kansas City. Wild card teams are going to be New England and Baltimore.
Okay.
To come out of that conference, I'm going to say Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're going to jump ahead. You said the Cleveland's winning the AFC. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say Cleveland's winning AFC. I'm just going to
over who? Who do you have in the conference title game then?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay.
Yeah, rematch of last year.
Okay.
They pull off this year because defense. NFC, I have Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and the Rams.
Sure.
Wild card teams being Arizona and Seattle. Okay. So 3 teams out of that division go in.
Wow.
Okay. I'm going to say it's going to be a battle. Probably conference finals, it's going to be, I'm going to say Green Bay and Rams.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Rams go to the finals. To the Rams win it all. Yeah, the defense just going to smother Rodgers and his poor offensive line that always cracks because they always get injured, even though they're really good. They're really good.
Yeah.
But they'll get injured like they did last year and just crumble.
Okay.
It's hard keeping offensive linemen healthy.
I mean, it is. You got to think of what they do day in and day out, play in and play out. It takes a toll on the body. It's hard.
Yeah.
So running through Michael's picks, he ended up in the AFC. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Kansas City winning their respective divisions. The Chiefs are the number 1 overall seed in the AFC, according to Michael. In the NFC, he went with Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and Arizona. The Packers taking the number 1 overall seed there. And then in the wild card, in the AFC, he had Tennessee and New England as your wild card matchup, as your wild card teams. In the NFC, he had Dallas and Seattle. And then for his title games, so this is the funny thing. Michael and I actually ended up with the same title games, the same winners, and the same Super Bowl champ. Crazy. That
is crazy.
Yep. So I guess Michael and I's picks for the conference championship games are Colts and Chiefs, with the Chiefs winning the AFC. And then on the NFC side, we have a rematch. You went with the Browns. You can't tell me that the Browns
actually went farther in the playoffs than we did last year.
Well,
they have a better quarterback and better defense. What are you talking about?
They won one. They beat a 40-year-old Ben Roethlisberger. That's all they did in the playoffs. They beat a 40-year-old Ben Roethlisberger. We faced the future MVP Josh Allen and should have won.
Scrub Josh Allen. He was trash. We should have beat them.
I know.
No, you know, Chris, you gave up on that game when we were making our comeback. Don't ever forget.
Did not. I did not.
Here you were.
Blasphemy. Blasphemy. I called the Jack Doyle touchdown. Y'all were about to leave, and I said, sit down.
What? No, we weren't. You were
about to catch a 35-yard bomb. He's about to catch a 40-yard bomb.
His dad one time was talking about, I started driving away because this game was over. Then we won. And he's like, I regret that. And then you start saying, we're going to lose. This is horrible. I'm like, game's not over. Came back. Don't give me that. I have the recordings. I don't.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
We were always still 20 seconds ahead of Michael, though. That was still funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we both have Colts and Chiefs in the AFC title game, with the Chiefs winning. You can't call us too many homers. That just means they win one game. Really, think about it. Well, okay, maybe 2.
So we get into the wild card. We're gonna get in the wild card. Let's face it.
Of course.
Then we have to battle our way through the entire thing. So we have to win 3 games. I don't think so.
We'll have to win 2. Let's take them to win 2. Because they'll win listen to me. They'll win the wild card weekend against like Tennessee, and then they'll have to face like the Bills again or the Browns. And I think they could win that game and then meet up with the Chiefs. That's
Then we have
not
to
that
face the
crazy.
Chiefs, and then we're gonna lose, and then that's 3 games, and we don't make it to the Super Bowl. We
Anyway,
cry. Carson Wentz asks for money.
I like
We
how
can't pay
I like
him.
how you're whining about how much of a homer and how sad you are at the Colts. It's not like you picked him to win. You didn't even put him in the conference game.
Because I
So
don't
I don't
trust
want to hear
Carson
it.
Wentz.
So Colts and Chiefs in the AFC, with the Chiefs winning, Pat Mahomes going to his 3rd straight Super Bowl. I know we're going down on a big ledge there. Whew, it's a hot take right there. In the NFC side, we've got a rematch of the NFC title game. We both picked the Packers and the Buccaneers to meet up again for the right to go to the Super Bowl, and we both picked the Packers to avenge that last season tough loss. And then so that would set up a Kansas City Chiefs and Green Bay Packers Super Bowl, and we both picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl this coming season. So keep an eye out for that one. So yeah, pretty funny how that's hilarious that we both ended up with the same picks. So who did you have, Toddeh? What did your Super Bowl look like then?
My Super Bowl was
Cleveland?
going to be Kansas City versus the Rams, and I was going to pick the Rams to win.
No, you said Cleveland.
Oh, did I say Cleveland wins it?
Yeah.
Oh,
You said Cleveland wins the
Rams
AFC.
win it. Oh yeah, I said it was gonna be a rematch. Yeah, so Rams win it still. Oh, it doesn't matter because Rams winning
it. But Rams over the Browns is what you've got. Okay. I'd watch it. Hey, I would watch it. That'd be an interesting.
Everyone would watch it. It's the Browns, Chris. We all love underdogs.
I know you're not wrong.
That's why we like the Bills.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So there we go. So
Colts
that is
the underdogs. We've had horrible seasons, but they've never been terrible.
Yeah. So that is all right. So that's how our divisions shake out and the playoff picture shakes out as well. I want to thank Michael for sending in those predictions for us, so we could at least all be part of it. Fun. So appreciate that. Now let's jump to some fun hypotheticals, Toddeh. Let's jump into the awards. You know, the glitz and the glamour of it. The awards of this coming NFL season. So as we talked about in the beginning at the top of the show with those 7 awards and who won them last year, we're going to pick those same 7 awards this year, Toddeh. So you ready to go? All right.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. So we'll start with the big one. We will start with the big one. We're going to get started with... Sorry, my phone is... There we go. We're going to start with most valuable player. We're going to start with the MVP. And I'm going to give it to Aaron Rodgers again. Back to back. I think he's going to go so scorched earth and just a big F you to everybody, including the Packers. Like, I think he's just going to go out there and throw for 5,000 plus yards, 50 some touchdowns, and like 3 picks. And en route to leading the Packers to another division title, 13 plus win season, number 1 seed. I mean, all those accolades that come with a typical Aaron Rodgers season. So I think he'll win a back-to-back MVP. So who do you have for MVP, Toddeh?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Revenge tour is going to get him all the way there again.
Sure. I love it. I love a good revenge tour. I am always.
And defensive players don't win this award anyway, so.
Very true. Very true. Offensive player of the year. I think you're going to like mine. Oh, actually, I'm so sorry. Michael did send in his award predictions as well, so I don't want to skip over him. So his MVP was Pat Mahomes. If it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be Pat Mahomes. Again, like you said, defensive players don't win this award. Quarterbacks almost exclusively win this award, so that already limits the pool of options down to 32 guys. And realistically, for me at least, there's 4, I think, legitimate arguments to be made for MVPs this year. You got Pat Mahomes because he's Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers because he's Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, just because of the great season he had. He looked to be on an MVP path. So if he continues to climb up, he could put some crazy numbers up for, again, a division-winning Buffalo team. And then the dark horse of it all is Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford could go out there with the Rams and, like we said, throw for, damn near 6,000 yards and 40 plus touchdowns and just kind of put up all kinds of crazy numbers. So, those four guys I think are kind of leading the running right now, and some other quarterback will probably round out a top 5, maybe a Baker Mayfield or something like that will go off. So who knows? What do we got next? Offensive Player of the Year. All right, I am going with second-year running back Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts. So people seem to already, I don't know if they forgot or didn't actually know in the first place, but he ended the season last year 3rd in the league in rushing yards with just a tick under 1,200 yards in his first season, where he was not, he was the feature back, but really only after week 1 when Marlon Mack went down. He wasn't expected to be the feature back, running back 1 all season. So this is his first season being the number 1 running back. And I think he also just has some great complementary pieces with him in Nyheim Hines, and bringing Marlon Mack back behind him on the depth chart is just going to help keep his legs fresh and only limit him to about 20 to 25 carries a game. But he's going to be so effective in those carries. We saw what he did in week 17 against Jacksonville, where he ran for over 250 yards against Jacksonville and two touchdowns. So we know how good he can be. He absolutely can be the Offensive Player of the Year. He's going to put up 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns this year. And why not?
Counterpoint, Christian McCaffrey, because he has the entire offense on his back.
Absolutely. A very, very
that's
solid
literally
pick.
My entire argument right there. It's because the last time he was playing, he literally had 80% of their offensive production.
Oh yeah, his usage rate, if you want to relate it to a basketball stat, was through the roof. Like it's insane to think of what CMC does for that team.
Yeah.
So, Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going out on a limb here. Actually, before I go out on a limb, I'm so sorry to do this again. But it looks like Michael went Offensive Player of the Year. He went with Aaron Rodgers, which makes sense. If he's not going to win MVP, he'll probably end up being the Offensive Player of the Year. So that's fair. Okay, back to me. Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going out on a limb. You ready? Aaron Donald.
True.
Aaron Donald. It's a slam dunk. If he plays 17 games, hell, if he plays 14 games, he'll put up enough numbers to win it again. And he's just the best defensive player we've got in the league right now. Frankly, it's just not that close. So
that was the hottest take of the year.
I know.
No one in their right mind would ever say that, Chris. Wow.
Saved it just for this.
I don't even have to say it. Aaron Donald. Yeah, that was easy. He's going to win it again this year. He's going to win it probably again the next year. Unless like the sports writers and beat writers and voters just get annoyed or bored of him, they're going to keep voting for him.
You mean LeBron James syndrome?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I like to call it. We can't give it to him 4 years in a row. Somebody else has to be, right? Like, yeah, it's LeBron James syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like Michael actually did go he went an opposite route. He went with TJ Watt for Defensive Player of the Year.
It's not bad. It's not the right pick, but
he did put in there with a little side note that says, especially he says he's going to win it this year, especially because he'll have a chip on his shoulder since he was robbed of it last year. Those are his words, not mine. I do not agree. I'm sorry.
I don't think anybody actually agrees.
He probably just threw that in there. I think he probably just threw that in there knowing somebody else would have to read it for him.
You.
Oh yeah. But so he goes with TJ Watt this year. That's fine. Again, it's one of those, if it's not going to be Aaron Donald, there's a short list of guys, and TJ Watt is definitely on that list. So it absolutely could be him. Up next, we got a fun one, Toddeh, and I want you to go first for this one. Actually, we're going to go with Offensive Rookie of the Year. So what offensive rookie of the year are you looking at?
Zach Wilson.
Okay.
I think with him starting quarterback of the Jets, I think he'll get a hot start. He'll put up some flashy numbers, get the award.
Okay.
How about you?
So for me, you're going to be surprised, but I'm going with Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to win the offensive rookie of the year.
I am shocked and appalled. I never would have guessed you would have said that. What?
So I'm going with Kyle Pitts. I really am. I know it's almost sounding like I'm a homer of his at this point, but really I am. I'm in love with what this guy can do on a football field. Because he lines up as a tight end, but the dude is like DK Metcalf size, and so he's basically a wide receiver that is categorized as a tight end. So they're not. If Atlanta's smart, they're not going to use him as a traditional tight end. He's not going to be doing a lot of blocking. He's going to be down the field. He's going to be essentially a number one target. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And with an Atlanta team, again, kind of the same reasoning that you think Zach Wilson's going to put up a lot of numbers and get a lot of usage and just put up kind of inflated numbers in garbage time and things like that. Mm-hmm. Who the hell is Atlanta going to get the ball to? It's going to be Kyle Pitts. He's going to eat up a lot of that offense. Whether it's on short throws or down the field throws and, yards after the catch and things like that, where he excels in all of that. So I think by the end of the year, he'll put up the big numbers. And they'll, if they feel like going away from a quarterback, that'll be a really unique one. When's the last time, a tight end won offensive rookie of the year? So yeah, that's where I'm going. And it looks like Michael agrees with you, Toddeh, and the Zach Wilson picks. So
good stuff on his part. I like him saying that. Good for him.
It's two votes for Zach Wilson and just one lowly vote for Kyle Pitts. So we'll see how that one. We'll check back on that in 17 weeks. We'll see. Defensive rookie of the year. Who do you have, Toddeh? Who's catching your eye defensive rookie of the year wise?
I'm a homer. Kwity Paye. That was easy.
Hey, that's where I went. Kwity Paye.
Let me guess. You know what? Michael said Kwity Paye also.
You have access to the same notes that I do. So in fact, that Michael did go with Kwity Paye. So 3 for 3 for Kwity Paye's defensive rookie of the year. Look,
we're all smart people.
At the end of the day, yeah, of course we're homers, but it's not unrealistic either. If you watched him in his preseason debuts at all, he basically was 2 for 2 with sacks, and he forced a fumble. He had a strip sack. He looks explosive, faster than any. He looks fast. He looks faster than any D lineman really I can remember seeing. That first sack, I watched the highlight, and you could just look at the seconds counter from when they snap the ball to when he's making contact with Kirk Cousins against Minnesota. And it's less than 3 seconds. It's less than 3 seconds from snap of ball to him getting past an offensive lineman, getting around him, and crushing Kirk Cousins. So, and he did both, all of his preseason he played without having, DeForest Buckner there to take some of the pressure off him, and he still excelled. So, offensive linemen are going to be double teaming DeForest Buckner and even Grover Stewart there in the middle. They're going to eat up a lot of that attention and space. That's going to leave room for Kwity Paye on the outside to make plays. He's going to have, he's going to make those sacks and make those plays and, get those tackles for losses, those stats that end up winning you awards at the end of the year.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
So, he will be in the conversation, and I think he has a legit shot of winning it. Absolutely. So yeah, 3 for 3 there. That's awesome. Comeback player of the year. In my mind, this is a pretty easy one. Again, it's not as severe as Alex Smith, but if this player comes back and gets back to 80% of what he has been, I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey. Easy one. Easy comeback player of the year. If he, again, just for health reasons, basically missed all of last season, and if he comes back to 80% of what he is, that's a huge jump in numbers wise for that. So
Chris,
that's where I'm going.
You have an issue here. You didn't pick a quarterback. So Dak Prescott's obviously going to win it. Whoopsie daisies.
And Michael agrees with you once again.
Yep.
Michael also is saying Dak Prescott will be the comeback player of the year. And again, I mean, same reason. Absolutely. Same reason. Missed all of last season essentially with injuries and is back this year. So yeah.
People
absolutely.
like quarterbacks. Also Odell Beckham Jr., honorable mention.
Sure.
He's not getting it though. He's not that good. Two good seasons and look what happens. He had 1 and 2 good seasons, but he's been injured like the past 3. So
yeah, it's just been just a spell of bad luck for him, really.
Faint memory in the distance of how good he was.
So our last award, but certainly not least, we're looking at Coach of the Year. For me, again, just kind of going back to that revenge tour, I'm going to go with Matt LaFleur, the Green Bay Packers head coach. I think really, I think he's done a good job since taking over for Mike McCarthy. Those were really big shoes to fill as a first-time head coach. Going into Green Bay and Lambeau Field is scary enough just with the history there. And, especially when you're talking out of a coach's lens, you have to think about, the big one. You're to a degree, like you're doing Vince Lombardi's job. Only the guy that we named the Super Bowl trophy after. Mm-hmm. Like you're filling his shoes to some degree. This is his franchise and blah, blah, blah. So, and not only that history, but you're replacing Mike McCarthy, who's the most recent Super Bowl winning head coach in Green Bay. So, he was loved by the fans for a long time until he had a couple of bad years there at the end. And it was just kind of time for him to go. So he's had big shoes to fill from them. And then, with it being he's being a first-time head coach, he's basically as young as his quarterback at this point, trying to coach him. So it was tough for a little bit, but I think, there's been a mutual level of respect over the last couple of years between Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. They kind of understand each other more now. And I think they're on the same page is the most important thing. I think they're finally in tune with each other. Now, granted, again, that NFC title game last season against the Bucs may have salted some of that because we know that Aaron Rodgers maybe didn't agree with some of the play calls, a la kicking the field goal down 8 late in that game. So maybe there's that, but they've had the whole offseason with everything going on to, I think, kind of hash that out. This is a long-winded way of me saying, I think, just kind of a byproduct of Aaron Rodgers' revenge tour success this year. Matt LaFleur will kind of take some of the credit and walk away with the Coach of the Year of a 14-3 record or whatever they're going to end up with this year. So that's where I'm going.
I'm going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Chargers are going to have a really well-off year this year. And so Brandon Staley, their head coach, is going to get it. Just because of the improvements he's going to make for their playing and push them into a wild card spot, probably.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
just
that a lot.
Because of the improvements over the year.
Yeah. It's more, that pick makes more sense if you're talking about actually like you said, the improvements and actually being a coach. Yeah. Like I said, I think, in my scenario, Matt LaFleur wins it, not because he's the best coach this year, but because he'll be a byproduct of Aaron Rodgers led success. And
I was going to say Urban Meyer, but I was like, that's stupid. I'm not going to say Urban Meyer.
No, it's not worst coach of the year. Sorry. We're looking for the best coach of the year. And this is fun. We all three went with different people. For Michael, he went with Cliff Kingsbury, head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, which again,
I can see that. Yeah,
I can see that. I would love to again hear his, backing it up in his thought process, because I think it's a solid pick, because again, that's another coach that is having to actually coach and help improve their roster. And he has done a good job again so far. with Kyler Murray and the improvements that they made last year. It's really exciting to see if they can make some more improvements this year. And again, kind of the same area that the Chargers are looking for, fighting into that potential division winning, more likely wild card scenario, and getting into the playoff race.
Mm-hmm.
But there you have it, guys. I think that's going to just about do it. Went through all of the divisions, didn't miss anything there. We've got a really, really fun, exciting season plan, coming up. And we'll be with you every step of the way. And just, same
it's
thing
going to
with,
be good.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Same thing with CraigCrash and B Scott. They're huge football fans as well. So as you guys, I'm sure already know, stick with them, listen to them, every Tuesday, listen to us on Saturdays. We'll start getting into more, we'll be previewing games more than likely, and they'll be kind of recapping games that have happened. So, So we'll hit you from both sides. It'll be a lot of fun. So thank you once again. Sorry that Michael could not join us this week. We'll hope to get him back, on live, on camera, in front of your faces next week. We'll try. We'll try not to go 0 for 3.
Fingers crossed, everybody.
But thank you so much for watching. And Toddeh, thanks for coming on. We will see you next week.